So, like I said, a pair of weights is all we need today. Should be matching. Something a little bit lighter. We're going to be working on a flow today, kind of transitioning from one movement to another very seamlessly, and working on kind of our coordination, our balance is our big thing today. So we're going to get nice and warmed up. I'm going to start with some inchworms. So we're going to hinge those hips down, get those hands to the ground, and walk it out into that high plank position. You can sneak in a push-up down there if you'd like to. And then we're just going to walk those hands back to our feet. Stand back up. We're going to go for 3 of these. I'm just working to mobilize those hamstrings, those shoulders, certainly that chest, triceps a little bit if you want to do those push-ups. Not mandatory, but we will be doing a little bit of pressing today. So we'll make sure that our shoulders and triceps are ready for that load. And we'll walk it up. All right. We're going to take a nice long lunge forward and kind of sink those hips down into kind of a standing runner's lunge. So we're just going to kind of hold this position for just a second, making sure that the top of our head and the tip of our heels trying to get as far away from each other as possible. And we're just going to step into that foot. Other foot is going to go back, same thing on that other side. Nice long lunge. Step into that front foot. We'll do one more time each side. We're going to add a little bit of that rotation here, top part of our world's greatest stretch. Bring that back down, stepping forward, and last time on the other side. Good long lunge. Hands down, reaching up. And we'll step forward. We'll single leg work here, talking about our balance earlier. We'll work on that, getting that primed up. So we'll do that single leg stance. We'll kick that leg back for a little bit of our RDL, stiff leg hinge here. Stretching out the hamstring and that down leg. Squeezing that glute to pull that foot forward. We're going to go a couple times on that same leg. I think somebody wants to come into my house, but it's all right. We'll go last time on this side, and we'll bring it back to standing. We'll flip over to the other leg, find that single leg stance, find that balance first, and then kicking back, find that balance. Take as long as you need to, finding that stability. Then we'll pull it back up. And we'll do about 3 times on this side. Make sure that down leg is not fully locked out, right? We do like a little soft bend in that knee, but we do want that leg as relatively far extended as possible. And bring that back up. All right, so like I said, we're going to work on a flow today. So it's going to have a lot of different components. We'll kind of walk through each one individually and start linking them together as we go. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different movements in one flow. So it's going to be a little bit of a mental workout as well. Hopefully you're ready for that. Okay, so we have our 2 weights. We're just going to do each piece of this individually. We're just going to do about 5 reps of each, just kind of get a feel for it. And then again, we'll start linking them together. So it's going to start off with a swing. I'm going to start with those weights out in front of me because we always like to start that swing with a little momentum coming into us before we push it back out. Okay? So starting with those weights out in front, we're going to pull them in, push them out. And just give me 5 good swings with those 2 weights, and we'll drop them back out in front. That was a little big jump there. Maybe I should have started at 1, but hopefully you don't have anything super heavy. 5 swings. All right, that's our first one. Swings, pretty easy. We got that one. Next one is our clean. All right, we're pulling those weights. We're going to end up pulling those from that hip level, pulling up into what we call our front rack position. All right, where our thumbs are kind of right at our collarbone. Okay, so we're just going to drop these weights, pull them up here. So go ahead again, looking to get 5 of those. I'll give you a few tips on these. Biggest one is we want to keep those weights close to us. So notice as I bring those weights up, almost like going straight vertically, as opposed to that swing, which is out. I want to keep that clean close. All right, we don't want to swing out and then pull them in, because that's just running that weight right into those shoulders, which doesn't feel great. All right, so keep it close on that clean. Okay, once we get those cleans, you'll end up in this front rack position. Then we're going to do a little bit of rotational press. All right, so as we punch up, we're just rotating to the side where the kettlebell is resting. Back down, punching to the other side. Let's go 3 each side here. So kind of pivoting that back foot as needed. Just add a little bit of that transverse plane in here. Boom. And good there. Okay. When we press, we want to make sure that we're not overarching that back backwards. Pulling those abs in nice and tight and get that hand up overhead. All right. I know I have this weird light right here. It's the door, so it's a weird time of the year. So sorry about that. After we do those rotational presses, where we're kind of finishing up in the air, we're going to bring that weight all the way back down to the ground. We're going to go for a snatch, which is one single movement from the ground to overhead. So what that looks like from that ground all the way up overhead. All right, so notice that weight does not stop at those shoulders, all right, as like a clean and press would do. We want one big pull all the way up into the air. So those are our snatches. So get a couple of those real quick. Just like that clean, we want to keep that weight nice and close to us. Big punch up overhead as you're kind of receiving that weight as it comes back down on you. All right. After we have that snatch, our last snatch will end up overhead. And what we're going to do is eccentrically, we're going to bring this down into kind of like a field goal position. And then we're just going to close the barn door there, coming back to our front rack. All right. So we'll finish that snatch at the top. We're pulling out and down like a lat pull down or a pull up. And then we're swinging around, closing those barn doors. Just a little extra shoulder mobilization work right there. All right. So I'm not going to make you do a few of those. Those are kind of hard. I feel like I should have picked a lighter weight to demo with, but this is where we are. So we're in this front rack. Our next movement is a clean to a power rack. So we did our cleans. All right, we kind of finished up in this front rack. We're going to change this a little bit. So when we clean, we're going to finish out here in a power rack in which our elbows are 90 degrees. So as opposed to our front rack, we're kind of pulled into the front of our body. Our clean to our power rack is going to get those arms, those forearms parallel to each other, and those elbows 90 degrees, okay? So let's get a few of those clean to that power rack. Just learning a little bit of control with that body and not letting that weight carry us around, but us being in charge of that weight, getting to those finished positions that we want to get to. All right, this is just a workout, just demoing everything. So our next movement is the deadlift, and we will keep those weights in between our feet for this deadlift. Typically we can do a kind of a suitcase deadlift where those weights on the outside of our feet, but this time we're getting our feet on the outside of the weights. So we're just hinging down, picking those weights up. All right, nothing too crazy with that. Making sure that we're hinging those hips backwards. Again, relatively stiff in the knees. Still soft in those knees, but we're not squatting down to pick this up. we're keeping that hip hinge. All right, hips go back, hips go forward. Okay? That is going to be our deadlift. And then our final one, we're just going to do a quick little jump with those weights. So feel free to do this without the weights. We'll give you the options to do it with the weight. So just pretend we did our deadlift, our final deadlift. We can either put those weights down and jump up, or we can finish that deadlift and jump up with those weights. All right, depending on what level you want to work on, those are both options for you. Okay, so we're going to sort of piece these together. We're going to kind of go 2 by 2s here. So we're going to do the first part. We have swings and we have cleans. So we're going to do 2 swings, 2 cleans. So we're going to start again with that weight out in front. We're going to pull it in, push it out, and clean. One more clean. Boom. All right, so one more round of that. We're going to do pull it in, 2 swings, 2 cleans. Okay? Pull it in, push it out. 1, 2, clean. 1, 2. Okay? So those transitions are pretty seamless because we're kind of already getting into that starting position of kind of that hip hinge. Instead of driving those weights out forward like we would a swing, we're actually just going to redirect it to a vertical path up into that clean. All right, 2 swings, 2 cleans. So now we're going to go from those cleans into our overhead press, which should be pretty simple. So we'll go ahead and get those weights up, do our 2 cleans. There's 1, there's 2, and then we're going to go for those press. So 1 press, 2 press, we'll do 1 more each way. 1 press, 1 press. All right, one more time, 2 cleans, 2 press each way. Clean, clean, press, press, 1 each way, 2 each way. All right, so we're starting to see kind of how these piece together. After our press, we have our snatch. So I will give you the option here. You can either go all the way down to the ground, or we can come what we call from the hang, which is about that waist level. All right, depending on how your back is feeling, where your mobility is, ground may be a little too far away. Also, if you're working with dumbbells, typically that kettlebell is going to be a lot taller implement. So going to the ground with a kettlebell is not as far down as going down with a dumbbell. All right, so adjust as necessary there. So we're going to get these up. We're just going to pretend we did our 2 rotational presses. Then we're going to go for those snatch. So we can either drop it from that hang, bump it up to that snatch, or we can go down to the ground up for that snatch. Either way, we're going to do 2 press, boom, boom, and 2 snatch, boom, boom. Whichever version you would like to do. And if you want to go from the ground, it is the same thing. That hinge, you just got to put a little bit more effort from that lower body to pull those weights up. All right. I'm assuming you got that. You're feeling strong on that. From that snatch is that eccentric kind of pull down. So we're enclosing that barn door. So I'm going to get 2 snatches up to the top. There's 1. 1 more snatch to the top. We're going to kind of pause here. Then we're going to get our slow eccentric down. Our field goal, closing that door. All right. We can reset that if we need to. Slow pull down, closing that door. Okay. Oof. So, swing clean, rotational press. We've done our snatches, 2 slow eccentrics. After that, we have that clean to the power rack. So we're already kind of out in this front position. As we've closed that barn door, then we're going to drop these weights down, cleaning into that power rack. Almost that same position that we just ended in.
So ideally, we would like your barn doors to close here with your palm facing you and that weight on the back of your wrist. And when we get into that clean to power rack, we want those palms facing each other with that weight off to the side. All right, very slight differentiation between those two. Eccentrics, palms facing us, right? Clean to power rack, palms facing each other. Okay? After we hit that power rack, I'm going to kind of go through this a little bit faster. We're eating a lot of time. So after we hit that power rack, we hit our deadlifts, right? So pretend we just clean to our power rack. We're just going to slowly control that weight back down to the ground and just get our 1, 2 deadlifts. And then it's just an easy transition there to those jumps. Or if you want to deadlift, jump with that weight, that's there for you too. Okay. So we're going to slowly start to piece this all together until it is a beautiful rhythm of movement, okay? I had a joke. We were going to start, I was going to say that we were going to come to class and we were going to dance. I had a lot of choreography for you. And then I was going to do some dance movements, but maybe next time. We're choreographing our weight movement today. All right, let's piece it all together. We got about 5 minutes. We're gonna run through this best we can. So weight starting again, out in front of you. We're gonna pull that in for a swing. All right, 1 swing, 1 clean. Kind of get a quick little rest point here at the clean. We're gonna rotational press each side. Boom, boom. We're gonna go down into our snatch. So whether you're going to the ground or to the hips, all the way up into the air. All right, we've got our slow eccentric, kind of chin up or pull up, closing that barn door, and then those palms facing towards you. Then we're going to drop this down into our power rack clean, those elbows out in front. And then we're going to drop that down to our deadlift, boom, and to our jump. Okay, does that feel good? We're going to try it again. I'm going to go about the same pace. Hopefully we can start kind of figuring out where these movements all go in order, and then we'll kind of pick up the speed and the intensity as we go through. Okay, so swing to clean. We have a quick little pause there. I don't know, maybe we can remember it in couplets. So swing and clean, right? Then we have the press each side to a snatch. All right, swing clean, press, snatch. Okay, as we're up overhead. Then we have that slow eccentric, right? And then down up to that power rack. All right, slow eccentric down into that power rack. All right, and then our final 2 are that deadlift and that jump. Okay. So it's 4 couplets. So let's work in those couplets here. First is swing and clean. So pull it in, push it out, swing and clean. Second one is that rotational press and our snatch. Boom, boom. Snatch. We have that slow eccentric to power rack clean. Boom, boom. And then we have our deadlift and jump. All right, feeling good? Feeling better? We're going to start picking it up a little bit. I'm going to kind of go at a 1 continuous pace here, and then maybe at the end we'll just start moving through, give you a couple minutes to push it. All right, so let's go for it. Swing, then clean. Swing, clean. Boom. Rotational press to a snatch. Slow eccentric to that power rack clean. Deadlift to the jump. All right. So this is not really meant to be a traveling movement. I'll give you 2 options here. If you do want to jump with those kettlebells, what I recommend is when you come down is to put those kettlebells back, take a step back before you go for your next round, because you do want to pull those kettlebells into you. Second option is to do your deadlift, boom, and jump backwards, and then you're ready to go again. Okay, so kind of creating that space, always starting with a little bit of a setback from those weights, so you can kind of initiate that pull. All right, so I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes here to kind of flow through that at your own pace, kind of feel it out without a little instruction. Just kind of put your own intensity onto it. All right, well, let's go for it. When you're ready, just kind of feeling it out here. Mentally getting through those movements as best as you can. You have to focus on those. I lost my train of thought. Just trying to hit each of those movements, getting in strong positions. And going through each one. About 90 seconds here. Getting the best that we can. Forgot what I was doing. It's a little bit of a mental exercise. Mat moving all over the place. All right, we'll take about 1 more minute, see if we can get 2 more times through this run. I like to try to keep those feet as relatively in the same place as possible as we go through here. Just looking for those kettlebells, those dumbbells to flow. That's the kind of point of this movement today. Trying to get 1 more in here. So we come to our last 30 seconds. Strong in that core as we're up overhead. All right. As we finish that up, maybe that heart rate's up a little bit. Mine sure is. A little bit different style workout today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Worked on that coordination. I'm definitely a bit out of breath. They're turning the lights on, so I guess it's time for us to go. Feel free to take that with you. You want to keep rolling on that flow. It's a great one to kind of do as a movement snack during the day. Get a little bit of lighter weight, just to move that body in a few different ways all in a short time period. All right, that's all I have for you. We'll see you next time. There is strength flow right after this if you want to hang around and mobilize. See you then.